to another of my Stitch Diaries. We are now in the start of February 2023. The date is actually, I think it's the 3rd. I've got a traditional style clock on my Apple Watch, and the big hand is covering the date, but I'm sure it's the 3rd of February today, the month of love. So anyway, today I'm going to show you, well, just to start off, my name is Claire. I run 2 series of videos on YouTube, one called the Stitch Diaries and one called the Doll Diaries, and today it's the Stitch Diaries. And today I'm going to show you finished things in progress, visiting old makes, and a little bit of life. I might have to film this in 2 parts because I've got to take my middle son somewhere, so I'll get as much done as I can. There'll be no gap for you, it might be a bit of a gap for me, so if I look a bit different in the second half of this, because I haven't quite finished my hair actually. I've dried it, washed it, dried it, put a couple of twists in it, but I haven't really done anything else, and it could go a bit frizzy if I don't do something to it anyway. So, right, shall I mention a couple of life things? Well, a couple of life things. My husband has cancelled our gym membership because we weren't getting to use it. Because of my son's schedule with college and things and these weird times, the classes I used to go to I couldn't get to. Because my ukulele time changed, I couldn't get to that class, so there was only really one on a Friday evening, and if I didn't feel like going on a Friday evening, which I often don't, I wasn't getting to go. So all I was really doing is using the car park, put my code in when I go to the ice rink, when I go figure skating practice. So yeah, it was a bit of a waste of money, and I was just basically doing yoga at home. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, but my husband has joined us to a new gym, and yeah, it's just going to be way better for us. So there's things it's close to where my son goes to college and my youngest goes to school, so I can kind of tie in doing it when I'm picking them up. Yeah, and so far it's working out much better. Yeah, so that's one thing. And during Vlogmas, you will remember my eldest son was offered a job with, excuse the bangs, my middle son's upstairs, was offered a job with the NHS, like managing some nurses. It's very like technical, he does things on the computer and things. Well, he got the job and he was just waiting for references. Well, anyway, they all came through and he started the job. So yeah, he's been there a few days. That's all exciting, isn't it? So anyway, let's crack on with these things. So what shall I start with? So I'll show you a little bit of work in progress first. Now you will know I'm working on a knitted bow by Petite Knit, and I'm only working on this when I'm waiting for people basically. Now I haven't got an awful lot done this week actually. I will show it you. I'm knitting this on a circular needle because that's what the designer recommended, but I can't see any need for it because it's just this like thin straight piece that you're knitting back and forth. However, for transporting, it does keep it nice and safe. This is I think it's a Knit Zing needle, a 3.5. That's what was suggested for this project, and I'm knitting it on that yarn, and as I say, that's how long it is. It definitely is longer than last week, but not much longer. Obviously, it looks like I haven't done much waiting. I have, and I actually took my knitting bag into my local town when my husband was having an eye test, and I left it in the car because I thought, well, while he's having his eye test, I'll just have a walk around the shops, which I managed to get in 2 shops. I went in Waterstone's bookshop and this shop called Tiger. Excuse me, I've got fluff from this. And he called me back because he said, well, I'm out, but then he had to wait for this other test and everything, so I ended up waiting for a couple of hours without my knitting. I was so frustrated, and I was so thirsty and everything as well. Yeah, it was awful. So I've gone and done loads of waiting, so I could have done loads on this, but yeah, it's not all that much longer. It's still in the 30 something centimeters, so yeah, don't expect it anytime soon. But I did tell you this isn't going to be one of these things I'm rushing through. This is something to keep me occupied when I'm out and about, and it's just, you know, it's just nice for me. And it's the bow, the December bow by Petite Knits, and I've showed you that in previous Stitch Diaries. So that is a work in progress that comes out with me every time I go out the house, basically. Now, another work in progress and a finished thing. Now, I am working on the Nordic sweaters, mini Nordic sweaters by Arnie and Carlos. This is the yarn I ordered. I ordered the exact yarn the pattern suggested, and it's the Norwegian yarn basically, and I got it from the Wool Warehouse, and I have made some progress. Now, you will have seen that I've finished one. Well, I've made one of them before. I made a plain one, but I did contrast in rib and cuffs and neck, and I Swiss darn 14 into it and some little love hearts, and I'll share that photograph with you again. It was a little decoration I made for Valentine's, so I might share that on Valentine's Day again on social media. Maybe hopefully you're seeing that photograph. Well, that was when I was just testing the pattern when it first got released. It was Christmas, not the Christmas just gone, the Christmas before, and I bought the pattern then, knitted one for Valentine's, and then never did it again. So I showed you sweater one. Now I'm taking photographs of this and putting them on my Ravelry account. I'm not sharing them on social media, unless you class Ravelry as social media, but it's a different kind of social media. But I've gone on and I've made sweater number 2, and isn't it lovely? Now, there you have the number on the front and the back, and I was trying to make a conscious effort to knit a little bit light, not as tight with this one, because I hadn't done any colour work since I did my knitted balls leading up to last Christmas. I had a bit of a break. I think I got in the habit of going a bit tight, so I think the body is a little bit tighter on this one. I kind of loosened up as I got a bit higher up and on the arms, but yeah, I worked quite loose with this one, so it probably looks a teensy bit bigger maybe, but continuing forward, that's what I'm going to be doing, working in that kind of tension, because I think that looks better. But they look lovely together, don't they? So yeah, lots of little Nordic sweaters, and I've actually I've started working on the next one. And actually, I'll put a photograph up on the screen. This is a photograph I've also put on Ravelry as well, and it's the yarn that I'm going to be using for the next one. Well, I've already started it actually, so this is my chart that I'm working from, that you'll have seen a photograph. This is the yarn. This is golden nugget colour, and this is cappuccino. It's basically brown, but it's a fancy name for brown, but cappuccino. And it actually goes really well with this knitting bag, actually. Actually, the knitting bag, I told you, it's a Barbie one that Lindsay made for me. Oh, and that yarn from Aldi is, I bought another ball. I said it was acrylic. It's partially acrylic. It is 97% acrylic. It's DK weight, by the way, and it is 3% metallic. So I don't know if you can see the sparkle, but I will have a sparkly bow. But yeah, I found one of the other balls. I bought 3 of them, you see. And yeah, this goes really well with this knitting bag that Mary Angela made for me, doesn't it? The colours look lovely. And actually, I've got my cat stitch markers, because it's a knitting cat theme. I've got my cat stitch markers on here. But here is, I'll try and not get all tangled up here. Here's the start of the next one, number 3. So just a little glimpse. So hopefully by the time I next see you, actually I've got a stitch marker, well, a progress keeper, is it however you want to call it, a stitch marker, I suppose. Yeah, you can call them progress keepers or stitch markers, whatever you like really. But yeah, I've got a Santa one on, because I suppose this is a Christmas project, it's an Advent project. And yeah, so that's how much I've got. So hopefully by the time I see you, I'll have that done. Basically, I wanted these finished by the end of October. That would mean I'd have to start, if I started in January, do 2.4 sweaters a month. Now, I started these really late in January. I think I started early. I cast on a cuff. And then I did it. I was doing that crochet doll. Actually, I'll share my crochet doll. I shared her properly last week if you want to see her in person, kind of thing. But I was working on this in January, so this was kind of put aside. But I'm really on it at the moment. So this is my evening thing that I'm doing. But I do have to have a little bit of time off from this when I'm making little mice, because the mice are basically cut out in my craft room, and I do most of the sewing in there on the machine. But then when I get to the stuff, I turn them inside out generally, sometimes down here, sometimes upstairs when I'm relaxing, and I do the stuffing upstairs and all the hand sewing up upstairs. So when I'm doing that, I'm not doing my knitting. But I have gone on and I've made 2 more mice. So when I last saw you, I shared a bit of a video, and I'd made 2 baby mice. I'd made 2 children, younger children size mice, the mummy size mice, but not a father, and I haven't made the older children, so I haven't made any more of that mouse, and that is little Arkington pattern that I showed you in my previous videos. I haven't got the pattern with me today. I also made the Laura Jean dolls one, which you saw last week. I shared that pattern with you, so you've seen all those mice. I've got them all in here, actually. A suitcase full of them, but I have gone on and made 2 more. So what I'll do is I'll pop a photograph of them on the screen for you. I've not shared this anywhere, so you are the first person to see them, and I've got them here, and it's a different pattern that I've used, and it's called it's a funny name. I was calling it Elfie the start, because I think she's from the Soviet Union. She's living in Oxford, but she sounds like Russian to me, but it's kind of that over that way. And her company name is Effie Little Things. I think that sounds a little bit funny in English, doesn't it? But I don't know, is that just me? I don't know. But here are the little mice by that designer. Now please excuse their tails. I've put tails on these mice and I've not cut them yet, and I actually messaged the designer, because it doesn't tell you how long to cut the tails in the pattern, but I asked her how long does she do hers, and she says it's a matter of personal taste, but she said she likes to cut them between 6 and 8 centimetres, but I've just yet to cut them yet. But yeah, they're lovely. I've coloured up their cheeks. I've made their bodies in a ticking fabric. Now all these mice, you'll be really glad to hear, are all from my scraps. I haven't had to purchase anything to make these mice. I've got the embroidery thread, I've got all the scraps of fabric. The cheeks are often, in Little Arkington pattern, the cheeks they recommend you make with a crayon, rubber crayon, but I've been using pigment ink, because I'm a paper crafter as well. I've got inks, so I've been using a pink pigment ink with a paintbrush basically. And yeah, so there they are. So, and I'll compare them to size wise. Now obviously you can make the size a little bit different depending on how much you stuff the legs in. But if I compare the mouse to that Laura Jean, they're quite similar, aren't they, in size. Actually, the Laura Jean one looks a bit taller, but her body probably looks, well, I don't know actually. She's a bit more bulbous. I don't know how well you can see with my jumper, but she's a bit more bulbous around the middle. And this one kind of like is more triangular maybe. Now the difference with these mice that I've been making, like this one is that I made, this Little Arkington, this is the mummy size one. So if you compare the mother size one of Little Arkington, the heads are a bit different, aren't they? But similar in size, but yeah, a much larger head. Actually this could probably, obviously I could make a father. I could make, one of these could be the father, couldn't it? Or maybe a different sort of, I don't know yet. I'm yet to dress this one. And the patterns that come with clothes with these is just a pair of shorts. I'll try and show you. There's not a good picture actually on here. the shorts, they've made shorts in brown. That's the pattern. I'll try and pop. See that little mouse there with the hat on? It's wearing the shorts. That's the only clothes pattern. That's what the pattern looks like actually. And it's from Etsy. Now that's the only clothes pattern. Now the little girl is in a lovely, looks like a Liberty print dress. And I messaged the designer saying how she got the pattern for the dress. And she said it's on her Patreon, which is £3 for the lowest tier. So I went on there, but there wasn't an actual pattern. It was a video of her basically with a piece of paper and drawing around the mouse. Basically, it was as simple as that. So it is something I could do if I wanted to make that dress, I think. But her clothes that she's made are not removable. She kind of ties them up with an embroidery thread, but I think if I made them, I would actually put elastic in them so I could remove the clothes. So now I do want to dress up this little mouse, and I want to give her a Liberty dress. And I've got another little suitcase here. I've been collecting all my, well, that was the fabric I used for one of the babies, didn't I? I've been collecting all my Liberties. I've been on a search for my Liberty fabrics because I want to give her well, that one there's Tilda actually. I made one of the other babies with that. But the rest of these are all Liberty scraps. I might have more in my lunar lapping drawer that might not be big enough to make lunar lapping clothes. So I'll have a look in there as well. That's the only place I haven't checked, I think. So that my little mouse adventure is continuing. I really want to do some sewing this weekend. It's Friday today, and I've told my husband, he's going, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this. I said to him, I really want to do some sewing this weekend. So I don't know if it's going to be mice related sewing, or if it's going to be something else. I haven't decided as of yet. So all will be revealed next week, if I got time to sew. But hopefully within this next week I'll get some sewing time. So yeah, so my little mouse adventure will continue. Whether it will be this weekend, I don't know. These babies. That's that green fabric I was telling you about, and that Tilda. So these are the youngest children and the babies and the mummy, but there's a mouse that's meant to be the older children. It's in between these two, and then there's the father. So I think we'll make a father in the same. What it is, I don't think we're gonna have enough of that colour linen to make the whole family. So that's why I've made just the mother. So then if I have to make the father a slightly different colour, then the older children haven't got enough. The older children can be the same colour as the father, but all the younger can take after the mother, can't they? So, so I sound a bit silly. I'm being so pedantic, but that's the kind of person I am. So yeah, I've got a lot of mice now. I don't know how many have I made? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 mice. Now I did actually play a joke on my husband. I said to my husband, he came into the craft room and I was in there, and I said to him, oh Chris, we've got a mouse problem in here. And he went, you're joking? I was like, yes. And I pointed at them and I went, I can't stop making them. And he's like, oh, you had me then, he said. So, but I'll share the photograph of the image, what I pointed at with all the mice. So yeah, I did have him there for a while, which is quite funny. I am a bit playful with him. I do play little jokes on him, but I don't let him think things for long. I tell him pretty straight away. I can't do it for too long. Yeah, I've had him a few times. There's something else as funny has happened this week. Oh yes, it's when we joined the gym. We got shown around at the gym, and there's people my husband and I know there. We didn't know they were there until we've gone there. I didn't see them actually, but my husband got taken into the men's changing rooms, and there was someone in there drying themselves with their body with a hairdryer. And the chap who took us round said, I don't know why people do that. he said, you know, dry the bodies with a hairdryer. No wonder they wear out so quickly, the hairdryers. And what my husband didn't say, the person that was doing it, we know it's actually somebody's son that we know, but he didn't say. But I know his mum is a hairdresser. So I said to my husband, you could have actually told him a joke and said, wow, he's been brought up round, because she's does hairdressing from home, been around hairdressers all his life, you know, it's all he's ever known. You know, it's so funny. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about another Patreon. Regarding the Patreon for the effy little things that I'm paying £3 a month for. I've only paid 1 month, and it was for a dress, for a pattern that wasn't on there. But I've gone through this Patreon and basically downloaded everything I can that has been on there for the £3 tier. So yeah, you might see things of that. So yeah, I haven't got them with me at the moment, but I think I've got enough to show you, so maybe I'll show you those next week. But I'm also in some Celie Louise Patreon, and it's a knitting called Knit the Year, and I showed you that the pattern last month, sorry about this, that's not it. I thought I bought it down. I haven't bought it down. It was to make, now I showed this on a previous video, it was to make a New Year's cat. Now you can have the tier where you get the yarn, and you can have the one where you just get the pattern for £5 a month, and I've just got the pattern. Anyway, I love the cat so much. The dyer that dyes the yarn actually dyed some more, so I've purchased the yarn, but it's not arrived because I'm going to knit it for my son, because the colour of the yarn, the body, really looks like one of our cats, Bella. So I'm going to knit that cat because it'd be like a mini Bella for my middle son. He's cat crazy. So yeah, that's in transit at the moment. But we've had the second pattern because it's February. We've had the second one. Now, I had the opportunity to order the yarn and I haven't, unfortunately. It's just because I can't have everything that I want. But this has been dyed especially for Louise. Now, I have knitted Louise's patterns before. I've made her mince pies, and they were all over my Stitchmas, all my videos in December. So if you want to see those, check those out. And they're on social media as well. And I made one. I got one for Christmas, the giant one, and I made it on Boxing Day. So yeah, it was all over that. So, but this is it, sealed with a kiss. Now you get a pattern to make a paper envelope, and yeah, it's to make a seal. So you wouldn't, if you were doing this for Valentine's Day, you wouldn't have very long to make it, would you? But yeah, so maybe this is one for the future. But yeah, just not yet. I've got plenty to go on with. But my intention was with this Knit the Year, I was just going to join for the £5 a month and get the 12 patterns, and maybe order the yarn occasionally, kind of thing. It might get to the point I upgrade my membership because I want to make them all, but obviously I don't think I'll be making them this year anyway. But maybe I'll make the cat this year, but yeah, who knows. So anyway, now I have ordered some yarn, and I wanted to well, I've said in previous videos, now Lindsay said she's watching my old videos, so and I might be contradicting myself here, Lindsay, because I said to you, I'm not really a blanket person. I've said this on my previous videos, and I've made quilts, but I'm not much of a knitted blanket person. That's what I said. Although I have crocheted a blanket before. Now, I can't remember who the designer of this was. It was so long ago. I'm sure I can find out. It was in a magazine. But I'm going to add this. When I find out all the details of this, I might not be able to remember all the colours. I don't know. I'm going to add this to my Ravelry account. And I'm going to photograph it properly because I haven't got any good photographs of this actually. They were not decent at all. But it'd be a lovely thing, wouldn't it, to share on my Ravelry account, wouldn't it? Because there's no blankets. But I really want to do a knitted blanket. Actually, I've got one of my quilted ones here. This is my Tilda one. This is all Tilda fabrics, and Isn't it gorgeous? Even that's actually, why did I bought this in? Oh, that was it. Do you know that little tiny baby mouse? I use a flowery fabric for the body. That was from the leftovers from this quilt. I actually bound this quilt in that fabric, and I've got squares in it as well, but it's lovely, isn't it? I think this fabric was called Tiny Treasures by Tilda, but it's a really old one now, and I don't think you could get it anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, it's lovely. I wish they'd just, you know, keep making these things sometimes. Well, anyway, actually, while I was looking for my my gym lock, I found a bag in the cupboard under the stairs that's crochet that I made many years ago. You haven't seen this for ages. This is a pattern by At It24, and I made this in DK weight. It was what was suggested, Style Craft Special. And yeah, and I haven't seen this bag in ages. I should use it, shouldn't it? It's such a lovely bag. Do you know what I think it is? I think I was hanging it on the edge of here, and my husband has put it in the cupboard under the stairs. How dare he? Yeah, so he probably didn't like it. Now, anyway, I have bought in this little mouse that I made. Now, the designer is Thimblewwood. I made it ages ago. You have seen this before, and it's basically a little needle minder. So you put your hand sewing needles in it. It winds out, look, on this little bobbin. It's lovely, isn't it? And the mouse just come off. Now this pattern is by Thimblewwood, as I say. Now the reason I'm mentioning this designer, you can't see the magnet here, but you can see the magnet there, is because I have got a new subscriber called Janet. Now Janet messaged me saying she's been watching some of my old videos, and she's noticed this little dachshund behind me, this little patchwork one, and she wanted to know who the designer was. And the designer is the same designer, Thimblewwood. Now, I've made this like a long time ago, and I had to actually look. I couldn't remember the name of the designer. I always want to say Sardines for Tea. Now, Sardines for Tea is a knitwear designer, or knit designer, knitted toys and things. And I've made knitted toys by that designer, but I just couldn't remember Thimblewwood. I remember the designer's name was Michelle, and she's on Etsy. But yeah, the reason I thought I'd bring my little dachshund in the video is to show Janet a little bit up close, just in case she's only just seen it on the shelf behind me. I remember the feet are quite flat. I think you sew those on after, actually, at the bottom. Yeah, it's a distant dream. I've had my dachshund so long. Actually, Becky from Notes from the Sewing Room has got a little dachshund. She uses a pincushion in her videos, but she didn't make it. I think I think she makes toys, but she bought her little dachshund. But I wonder if somebody actually made it. Well, someone did make it, but it looks very similar to this pattern, actually. But yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? So yeah, there you go, Janet. But yeah, I've made Thimblewwood's patterns before. I made a gorgeous seagull called Captain Chips. I'll be getting him back out in the summer, hopefully. Well, I say this, but I've not been getting a lot of my previous decorations out very often because we're going through home renovations. I don't want them to get dusty, so I've got them in plastic boxes with silica bags with little holes in them. I've drilled into the boxes to keep them a bit airy in my loft. So yeah, I'm not getting a lot of my old things out. Even at Christmas, my Christmas tree was looking a bit bare, wasn't it, compared to, because I can fill various trees with my homemade Christmas decorations. I've made so many, I don't even need to put shop bought ones on. But yeah, I didn't have all that much on my Christmas tree this year, just because, yeah, with home renovations you just don't feel it, do you? Well, I certainly don't. Well, anyway, what else have I got to show you? So various knits. Oh, so yeah, knitted blanket. I really want to make a knitted blanket, and I ordered some yarn, and it's 4-ply. I must admit, I've fallen a little bit in love with 4-ply. Now I've got this basket here with all things in. Now I have started collecting things for Easter. These are hanging decorations, chocolate eggs that you hang. All these lovely things. But this one, look, 3 of us have had one of these already. A little bit munchy. We had the munchies, so yeah, we had them. Anyway, at the bottom, some yummy 4-ply yarn. Now this came really nicely packaged. It was in brown paper. Then I opened it up and it was like a present. And it was in this tissue. Tribe Yarns, that's the name of the store. Oh, more eggs. Right, so actually there's a silica thing in the bottom of this. So yeah, it came packaged up. It had all twine around it and it had a little button, but I've obviously ripped those off. But this is the yarn. Ta-da! Isn't it gorgeous? So gorgeous. Actually, that was the bit that was tied around it, but the button has fallen out, so it's like a teal colour button. But look at all these minis, these mini skeins. So I'm going to be getting my wool winder back out. My wool winder is always out, but I'm going to be getting my Swift out, for unravelling these. Look at the rainbow. Now I'll share the photograph with you, which was on the shop. Now I will admit, I don't know if they have any more. They've got different shades of these, but I don't think they've got this. This is the lightest one they had. And yeah, I want to do a knitted blanket with it. But I don't want these to be the only yarns in it. I want to collect some more minis basically, in more like these like lighter colours. I don't mind them. I actually would like some ones with a bit of fleck in them actually. These are kind of more like a fade, but I would like some with some fleck in them as well. And what I'm planning on knitting, now you will think, well, you've got a lot of knitting going on. Now this will probably be when, obviously when I've finished this row. If this is easy enough to take out and about, it might be my out and about project while it's small, and then as it grows it will obviously be an indoor project, and then hopefully by then I'll have done all my Nordic sweaters. That's the plan. Now this is the pattern I'm going to try, and it's the Knitted Patchwork Recipe by Martine Ellis. Now Jules Hill has knitted this, I've seen. And yeah, it's really lovely, isn't it? See, they're squares, but it looks like you're going to be doing some increasing and decreasing. And I think it's a knit as you go. So it's not the kind of knitted blanket. Like I've done loads of knitted blocks before, and they just end up leave them piled high. Never join them. And but this, I think you join as you go, and that's what I found quite appealing. But I want less, I don't want mine dark, I want mine lighter. So I'm going to be on the look for little minis. I don't know how, what I'm going to do is I will knit up one, and then I'll know how much weight of yarn I need for this project. And yeah, and I just, as long as they're 4-ply and they're of similar, I think it will be okay. So basically sock weight yarn, that's what I need. But it's really difficult to find in local shops. You need really, you know, yarn dyers and things, but it's buying, you know, small quantities in the right colours. I don't want to just buy someone's mini and then I've got a load of dark ones, because they're not what I want, basically. So that is something that I haven't started, but will be getting started. I might have a chocolate egg when I've finished filming this. Is that actually, I have still got a Christmas chocolate lollipop left. I might eat that actually. I'm getting the chocolate munchies. We've seen all of this. So I think that's everything I want to share with you today. So yeah, I'm just gonna like plod along this week, and yeah, I think, yeah, there might be a video at the end of here showing you some things. There may be not, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so thank you for joining me for another episode of my Stitch Diaries. I hope you've liked seeing my current projects I'm working on and some finished things. Some visiting some old makes, some things I'm planning for the future. But I will admit, this year I do want to revisit things I've started that I haven't finished. So I'm not going to get into loads of new things. I need to basically carry on with things, you know, like quilts that I've started, some embroidery things that I've started. Yeah, I've got to pick those back up again. So yeah, it was some projects revisited, definitely. And is there anything else I've got here? Oh, I have been using my bag, do you know, my samphire bag that I made by the late Lazenby. I have been taking this out now. We haven't had any rain for ages, so the car's been quite dry. So what I've been doing is basically I've been using this more like a handbag, and then I've been putting my knitting bag inside it just so my keys don't snag on my knitting and things. And yeah, that's been a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will you know, and I will see you next time. Bye.